jump into the face-off with MOPP4 and Nerve and see what the teams think. Starting off with Indy from Team Nerve. Indy, how are you, first of all?
I'm awesome. How are you guys?
Wonderful. And I just want to say you guys have looked very strong. You're now 3-0 in the league. Your games yesterday, I thought, against the Cunninghams were going to be very close and highly contested. They were not so close. They were not so highly contested. How confident are you at this phase of the league?
Well, you know, I thought they were going to be close too. So I guess they weren't so close, but I was expecting them to do better. I think today is going to be a lot closer.
All right, so we like to always ask what words you have for your opponents. What are your predictions for how this next match is going to go versus MOPP4?
I don't know. They might 3-0 us. Could go anyway.
My good friend and colleague Rotterdam, sitting right beside me, just asked, "Where the hell did you get those curtains? Because they're beautiful."
No comments.
Conflicts representing MOPP4. You've got a tough match in front of you. How closely have you been watching Nerves play, and are you nervous at all?
Not nervous, no. I mean, both teams are all from the same clan, so all 14 of us know each other really well from Clan Wars. So I haven't really tried to watch their matches too much, just to not to play into the meta a lot, just because we do know each other. So there's going to be a lot of, I guess, second guessing probably, just because we know each other a lot. You know, I know Indy and I know Red and a lot of those guys, so it's going to be interesting.
Do you have any big words, bold predictions for how these battles are going to play out?
I've learned that predictions and bold words don't go well here.
Fair enough, my friend. Am I correct in assuming that MOPP4 is the high seed?
I think so.
Yes, I am. So that means that you guys get to make the coin flip. Conflict, what's it going to be?
Give me heads, please.
All right. Ask and you shall receive. It is heads. And that means that you can choose either the map or you can defer.
We're going to defer, please.
All right, Indy.
Proc.
Proc is the map.
All right. And we'll take the south side.
So it's going to be Nerve versus MOPP4 on Prohorovka with MOPP4 starting on the south side. Gentlemen, good luck. Here we go, gentlemen. Nerve spawning in the northern position, MOPP4 taking the south, and we're already seeing quite a bit of movement. Both teams doing exactly what Randall predicted, establishing themselves on their respective sides. Nerve going to just kind of pile down this western front while MOPP4 establishes himself in the village on the east.
Who's your favorite player of Nerve?
You know, it's hard for me to really single out a single person, and I think this really speaks to the team itself because they move as a unit and they perform so well, and also because I interact with the players so much. I'll go so far as to say there's a couple guys on Nerve that sometimes push my buttons, but I love what they do when they're in the battle.
Really? How come, Ben? Give us the tip of the iceberg. What could these guys ever do to you?
Just like to push my buttons, Kev. Kind of like some of my favorite colleagues.
To see Nerves having that beautiful position over here on the west side of the map. What do you think we are going to see right now? Do you think MOPP4 is going to try to make something happen, or are they just going to sit safe and solid on the other side of the train wrecks?
Well, the only real resolution to this map that I've seen that I truly liked was what we just saw a little while ago from Turtle Police against Refuse to Die, trying to cap and then creating great screen by just forcing a fight. And that kind of decisive action is probably my favorite strat right now to resolve this kind of, you know, Cold War stalemate kind of setup that just keeps happening.
Pretty interesting that we're seeing Nerve with all 7 of their tanks in one square. They're all in looks like E2, just chilling. There's no T1 coverage of their flag. There's no T1 coverage of the enemy team's flag. And as I say that, they are starting to mobilize once again.
I must say it's kind of funny though, because in the first week of the WGLNA we saw a lot of teams just headbanging or like headbashing in the middle of the map, just drive straight forward and never turn back. While in the last week, in the last 4 or 5 game days, we've actually seen the complete opposite and see Proc being played out as a rather slow map. Well, before that it was just like, all right, roll out and let's go for it.
I think some of that could be to do with RD changes. What do you think, Randall?
I think it has to do with the development of counterplay to those kinds of strats. As this tournament started, you had teams that didn't know how to deal with that kind of a push, that kind of very well organized push, especially when one team was better at brawling than the other. And it just worked out that way. But once teams really figured out how that strat worked, got a little time to look at it, they got to develop their own counterplay, and they were able to set up, which then invalidated that strat as the go-to strat. Now teams have to only pull that out when they're pretty sure the enemy team won't be expecting it, that kind of thing.
Now we are seeing a fairly similar sort of screenplay being set up here from Nerve. They've got 4 tanks in position to initiate cap. They've left, it looks like, 2 tanks behind.
Those T-69s.
2 of those T-69s to try and muck up any attempts at base defense. I think we are going to see the lights, the 1390s and the T1 Cunninghams pushing onto the flag of MOPP4 in just a moment. First spotting also occurring here as Nerve has been seen. I'm so surprised that they're going to be seen with those T-69s, which have such great vision, without also spotting their opponents.
Lots of things going on the minimap now as well. It seems like Nerve has a pretty good idea where MOPP4 is located, but of course they can't be for sure until they actually spotted them.
They're not setting up for a cap, they're setting up for a huge brawl as Nerve's going to run down this this ridge line. No, they're just trying to, no, they're not brawling. What are they doing, Randall? They're just proxy spotting?
Okay, very cool things happening right here. Nerve is setting up one of their T1s, Lieutenant Carter, in a bush just outside cap. And what they're going to do is very similar to what we saw Turtle Police do, which is they're going to start the cap and then they're going to start a fight. And they want that fight to start so that what happens is cap begins to go up and up and up. And they might actually use Lieutenant Carter either as a distraction to kind of draw MOPP4 out, so that what happens is when they start the fight, they might start it with an advantage, you know, that kind of thing. So it's just going to take a second here, because I believe with some of Nerve's tanks spotted, they felt like that element of surprise was lost.
I think the other T1 is on the way as well, right? Independent is going to make their way towards this flag too, so I think they're going to do it with 2 Tier 1s, exactly like we saw Turtle Police do it as well.
Actually,
or was it refused?
Indy's not going to do it. He's actually going to go, yeah, he's going to go similar to where those 1390s were proxy spotted. I think he's going to try and proxy spot a few tanks here for the rest of his team. Ooh, there is Captain No Pants getting proxied by Psycho Killer. This is this will probably slow down Nerve's attempt to attack here.
Yep, that cap is certainly going to be initiated soon. Nerve seemingly in a great position to defend a base cap, and there it is. There's the movement from Team Nerve. It's going to be Lieutenant Carter pushing onto the flag, initiating that capture. It's going to be a long time before MOPP4 is at any risk of actually losing the map. They've got 1.5 minutes to come up with some kind of a reaction. But the positioning on Nerve looks so damn scary, quite frankly. They've got T-69s controlling that back ridge, 1390s controlling that front ridge, and it just makes movement so incredibly precarious.
Psycho Killer is going to spot conflict over here in the little village, but obviously not able to get some shots off over that rift.
Yep, and we can see a lot of movement out of MOPP4. They've got 3 of those quick light tanks, 1390s and WZ-132s, backing down the line. Lieutenant Carter is spotted also, so I mean it just takes one shot. Oh, that was
Bachrocker was on the hill, and he does have shots from there. Very unfortunate that Nerve was not able to get any damage traded for that loss of a T1.
So that's gonna change things a bit. Now, interestingly, on the minimap, we can see that there's a MOPP4 T1 Cunningham on Nerve's side of the map. So what happens suddenly if MOPP4 initiates a cap?
Ooh, they do have that advantage of a Tier 1 and that kind of coverage. So the distraction that a T1 could provide for MOPP4 could be enough to get the fight, because if you take a look at the way Nerve is right now, they will have to send back one of their 1390s to stop cap. It will take only a few seconds, but the thing is, if you send a T-69 back, he's going to take it. He's going to be slower. He's a bigger target, and I guess you'd see the loss of a T-69 if Nerve sent one of them back.
Seems like Lechero is going to try to get a sneak peek over this hill. Of course, wants to be super careful. The entire team of Nerve is in between the entire squad of MOPP4 and their flag right now, which is a really interesting scenario, obviously.
Yeah, it would be incredibly tough for Nerve to get back and defend. I'm a little surprised that MOPP4 hasn't called the shot to initiate cap, but at the same time, they don't have perfect vision like we do. So Nerve contesting this ridge. Looks like they're considering making a move to push over it. But that would be...
Indy is going to go back. Oh, here's what's going to happen. Nerve, No, Nerve's
Here
not
we
going to
go.
wait. Okay.
Here we go, Psycho Killer getting a couple of shots off from Buckrocker, who's on the top of the ramp immediately. Meanwhile, Hornsby and Lechero are going to try to shoot at the 132, dealing so much damage.
Oh, one of those shots from Hornsby did miss or bounce or something, but great focus fire from Hornsby and Lechero. Explosive brutality and Psycho Killer getting picked off. So great exchange so far from MOPP4. Both teams lacking a single tier 8 and a single tier 1. It is all tied up, 33 tier points each. The base race is going to favor Nerve.
Explosive brutality has to be careful though, Ben. He already took quite a bit of damage. He's already only at 462 HP right now. If he falls, we're going to have a clear tier advantage in favor of MOPP4.
But I think this was going to come down to cap. Kev, 1 minute left on both sides. Can either team get a reset? We got some crazy movement here on the minimap as Nerve and MOPP4 are both scrambling to affect some form of defense. Look at Marsh going to push forward, and Check Monster gets crushed.
And now Conflict is super low on HP as well, but I think that Nerve has done it.
It certainly looks like it, with no way to answer for the cap. Well,
actually,
no, they lost the cap. It's MOPP4 who's threatening the cap, and there's 35 seconds left on the clock for Nerve to react to it. Now, they do have a substantial tank advantage. Marsh just has to spot and kill that T1 Cunningham.
Okay, they're also being on the minimap, perhaps pointing out that there is something that he has to worry about. We're following him right now. He has 20 seconds to go. He's going to spot the T1 Cunningham right now, and T1 is actually going to leave the flag area.
Give it up. Stagnate will not belong to this world, I'm afraid. Oh, Marsh with a critical miss. While this is happening, we got big fights on the other side of the tracks as the rest of MOPP4 has been more or less cleaned up. There we see Marsh picking off Stagnate. Captain No Pants also going down, means that the last of MOPP4's tankers have been accounted for, and Nerve, slow starting but hard hitting and strong finishing, takes the first map. This Silent Minds map intro, my favorite one of all, because who needs catchy in-game music? Am I right? Let's take a look at the tank lineup, Kev, and just make note of what we're seeing here. It's a common sight, as autoloaders are dominating the loadout at single 5100 for MOPP4. The rest 1390, T69, and an IS3. And on the Nerve side, autoloader, two T69s, two 1390s, and yes, still that single 5100 just for some extra hit points.
Still, I'm a little bit surprised to see the IS-3 making an appearance on the battlefield. Well, apparently we already lost one of the T1 Cunninghams for Team MOPP4. Right now, how did that happen?
Psycho Killer was lined up perfectly for that shot, and when the T1 Check Monster got spotted going across, he was prepared, perfectly prepared. I actually thought he was like disconnected or something, maybe having computer problems, but no, he was actually lining up, preparing for that scout to be crossing the water, where he does lose that speed. He does become a much easier target.
Now, down on that K line, we do see a couple of small light tanks taking advantage of that bush that we were just talking about, Randall.
Yep, exactly. And from here, it's like they're listening to us or reading your mind. It's so great. Marsh has gone to the bush that we were just discussing, and from here, now I don't think he's actually in it properly.
Ooh, he might actually spot Captain No Pants real soon.
I think his front right track might have been sticking out, and that could have been a mistake, as I did see him twitch back a little bit, as if he might have been spotted, but I think he was just surprised by the fact that he caught a 1390. This is an example of what you can see. Now, if MOPP4 knows this map very well and they're paying enough attention, they might know Marsh is in that position, because from there you kind of have this angle on a few bushes down in K4 and 5. But it looks like there's damage going out, so never mind on this.
Buckrocker is actually taking a lot of damage from explosive brutality, and perhaps a little bit of Marsh there as well. He's falling all the way back to 346 HP. What a massive victory for Nerve already, getting all this free damage.
Yep, Buckrocker down to, he's lost 1,000 hit points. He's going to die in 1 to 2 shots. This is a terrible position for your T69 to be in. He represents so much of your potential to crank out damage. And let's also not forget that Check Monster being down means MOPP4 is half blinds, man. They don't have any real spotters out on the map right now.
Where is Nemesis right now? Because where he is and what he's doing is very important to MOPP4. If he can get any kind of lead, killing another T1, or maybe getting some very crucial spots on Psycho Killer, and he has a battle buddy with him over in C4, that could be enough for MOPP4 to just, you know, here he is right on the screen. This is what we need to see. These are the T69s that MOPP4 needs to spot. So this T1, though, I believe
He's close. He's hovering around the hill.
Ah, there he is. Okay, that's a defensive scouting position right there. I think he's probably not wanting to risk losing himself and giving his enemies, you know, a 2T1 advantage. If you give your enemies 2T1 advantage, then you've got so much cap pressure, so much map control just from those 2T1s. I mean, they don't do a ton of damage, but that map control has won so many battles.
Yep. It's all about knowing where your enemy is, and look how it's affected, or MOPP4's inability to know where their enemies are has affected the way they're positioned on the map. They are so defensively positioned right now, not overextending at all, completely blind, and being forced to play so much more carefully than we might expect. Lechero, Psychokilla on the move, finally giving up that bush control, and they're going to go and advance forward to that central hill. Meanwhile, we see MOPP4 moving around the eastern side of the hill, so they hit the switch, man.
This could get really interesting as soon as Psychokilla and Lechero know what's going on, because they might actually be able to land some fire from the high ground if they know where MOPP4 is going right now. I love the battle body for Life Spirit, by the way, at these two T69s.
Yeah,
yes,
this is going to be some huge crossfire that we could see if Psychokilla and Lechero can get the right spotting. Because of 1390s out on the island, that's Martian Explosive Brutality. If these T69s don't have a shot in it, those 1390s surely will.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Psychokilla still taking his time and trying to find and set up some shots. We can see MOPP4 looks as if they're posturing themselves to make a push for the flag, and if they can get that remaining T1, if they can get if they can get Conflict and Captain No Pants,
they might be able to get a shot off on Lechero soon, no?
This whole development has happened without them spotting each other.
Yeah, this is crazy. They're just circling around the hill.
yeah,
I think Lechero is in a little bit of trouble, guys. I think he's going to be spotted real soon, and he's actually turned with his back towards them as well.
Stagnate is going to get the spot, and all of a sudden, surprise, Lechero takes a ton of damage. Unfortunately, Stagnate is blocking his teammates' shots, and Lechero will have an opportunity to reposition and maybe return some fire.
Let's not forget about the 5100 at the lighthouse. He should be able to rain some fire on these guys real soon.
There's the blind spots right now for that Stagnate and Conflict are in. That 5100 won't be able to get shots there. So the thing is, Lechero and Psychokilla are effectively out alone unless, wait, do I see 1390s over in, yes. Oh, no, those are T1s in K4. So there is no cover for these T69s. They are alone, and it is their job to stop the cap.
But you know what? I don't think that MOPP4 is able to respond to the cap. On the other side of the map, there are 4 Nerve tanks coming together on the MOPP4 cap, and resets and damage and everything is just going the wrong way for MOPP4 as their attempt at initiating cap is not going to work out. They've got 2 guys left on it, but they've taken too much damage, and Nerve is going to cap it out once again.
Big shots by Glenn Scott. He's once more resetting the count to make it absolutely sure that Nerve is going to win this battle as well. That was so well done. That 5100 slowed everything down so much. He was not able to provide cover on the T69s at first, but he did slow down the whole cap process and even picked up one of the tier 8s and then reset it again to be triple sure.
Yeah, for a half a second there, I thought there was going to be even more and more kind of just cap rushing, but it just didn't happen.
It's time to hashtag roll out, Kev, but before we do, let's check out these tanks. 5100s and IS-3s and even a T-69 for flavor. The one difference in the lineup is that Nerve has brought one more IS-3 for a little bit more, we'll just say tankiness in this game of tanks. And Nerve bringing, MOPP4 bringing one more autoloader for a little bit more burst. So I'm very eager to see how that plays out. Nerve immediately setting up. Interestingly, positionally, that T-69 going down the western side of the map, maybe even allowing himself to get spotted, implying that Nerve is over there.
Meanwhile, I would never give my car to Carter as he just drove straight into the wall at full speed for absolutely no reason.
Actually, you want to know why? That's exactly where he wants to stop, and that's why he ran into that wall. Because in tanks, if you run into a wall, no big deal, right?
They have airbags, self-deploying airbags inside the tank, so your crew takes no damage.
And you're a tank also, if you didn't realize.
But by God, if you go over a small bump, you're going to take huge damage.
Carter is actually going to spot check monster, so well done by him. And of course, he's going to hide straight behind the wall immediately again, as he does not want to fight at IS-3.
Hill Games out of MOPP4, they have taken to the high ground, and they're going to try to get some spots, try to get their spot on. Nerv is, has really slowed it down this time. I'm a little bit surprised to see him sitting back so much, as they have been fairly aggressive thus far in this series, but they're going to take their time and let this map develop a little bit and try to play reactively, it looks like. And there's nothing wrong with that kind of
well, they got a good defensive position, but still they're going to have to worry a little bit if MOPP4 just takes the hill completely uncontested. If they leave one tank up there, he might be able to rain down some fire on the tanks from Nerv.
Also worth noting, if Nerv can force a single draw, it's now impossible for them to lose the series. So that could be something on their mind, not being too stressed about playing slow. Hill Games still kind of dominating the action right now, as we see MOPP4 pushing forward with Nemesis in that T1 Cunningham, trying to check and see, hey, where is Nerv? What are they doing? Also noteworthy on the minimap, we can see that single T69 Explosive Brutality has given up on the Western Front and is coming back to rejoin his teammates. And I'm wondering, what does Nerv have planned?
Carter once more is trying to get some good scouts off, but there is not too much to scout on the hill. He might be able to spot the other T1, and that might actually be a fight that he wants to take, because he has good vision on it. But so far we see the scouts from MOPP4 not committing yet. But this is the third battle, right, Ben?
This is battle number 3.
So if this would be a draw and then they would win the next one.
It could, in theory, be forced to a draw situation.
Yes.
And then maybe something could change in overtime. But
exactly.
But
in overtime, it's still possible for MOPP4 to turn this around, even if this would be a draw. They're going to have to play a lot of maps. Meanwhile, we see a crazy amount of tanks right now on the hill.
Yep, all on the hill, and none of them postured to actually shoot down to the low ground. So if Nerv wanted to push up that that little banana, that little hallway on the 8 line, they would be able to do that. The only real resistance down there is that single heavy tank. I'm not sure. I would imagine it's the IS-3. Probably check Monster.
But you need to be reminded that earlier today, again in Turtle Police in Refuse to Die, a similar situation happened, and there was an overcommitment. So that would have to be Nerv's. It would be on Nerv to not overcommit to that kind of fight.
Seemed like March actually got shot at, but it bounced.
Oh, it would have been absorbed by his spaced armor. There's a strip on the side of the IS-3 where, right where you see that hole, there's a strip of spaced armor, and that's one reason why the IS-3 is such a strong tank in reverse angling, because you utilize that spaced armor along with your tracks, which works as spaced armor, and it's just such an effectively strong just side right there.
Spaced armor, Randall, essentially meaning there's 2 layers of armor, correct?
Exactly, which decreases the penetration of a shell, and then, you know, if you hit the next one, you have a shell that's going at such a slower velocity, such less effective penetration.
Does that mean that when you're shooting spaced armor, you do 2 penetration rolls?
Yeah, you have to pen twice.
That's very interesting.
2 is better than 1, but goes for many things in life.
No real action unfolding yet. Nerv continuing to play this slowly. MOPP4 obviously not wanting to aggress down that hill, as they are already well past the center line of the map and deep in enemy territory. We have a little bit of movement down the 2 line. Looks like a little T1 Cunningham pushing up, trying to do some spotting and determining the situation. It's a pretty cool logo on the front of Lieutenant Carter's tank.
Yeah, I like it as well.
Lieutenant Carter, the Devastator, the Lucky Devastator.
I love it when those T1 tanks got the badass names. It's like, I'm a Cunningham, I'm the Devastator.
Run,
like
Carter, run.
Here we go. The Devastator does not want to hold that spot as he sees MOPP4 pouring. Wow, Bachrocker gets drilled by a long-range shot down the alley. Nerv gonna reap the rewards of playing defensively here. Explosive Brutality will absorb a couple of shots, a lot of shots. Explosive Brutality goes down. And I spoke too soon. Nerv will reap no rewards from this situation, as they are now suddenly down 8 tier points. And
so
at risk
to make something happen.
Yeah, at risk of dropping their first map so far in the league.
There's still a T1 on the other side as well, which could potentially spot a little bit. Obviously, they want to get the turrets all pointed towards the hill. That was a great pickup for MOPP4, and I actually did not expect the T69 to fall.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that as well. Explosive Brutality probably a little bit upset with himself, as we see Nerv mobilizing, trying to find some opponents, trying to make something happen, not making any shot. Wow, Psycho Killer takes a huge shot.
From Check Monster.
Blasting through nearly half of his hit points. And he's going to keep pushing forward, Kevin. He does not want to do this. He's going to be pushing into some enemy tanks.
Check Monster gets another big shot off on the other IS-3 from Marsh. But now it is going to be 4 against 4 over here, though, because Check Monster is on the other side of the map.
Psycho Killer's got to position himself so carefully. He is one shot from death, and he goes down. MOPP4 up 16 tier points, poised to win it. Nerve will continue to make the push, but a third tank falls, and look at this.
The IS-3 is coming in from the other side now as well, so the 2 remaining tier 8s from Nerve are also trapped. They will be flanked soon. And this is it. Nerve is going to drop their very, very first map of the season.
Lechero taking a big shot. He's down to basically 1 hit from death. That means Marsh, the last guy with any reasonable amount of hit points, is, while he's now officially the last tier 8 standing, and Nerve is in an awful situation here. They will end up losing Himmelsdorf unless the T1s can make some magic happen.
Man, big shout out to Check Monster though. He was the only IS-3 that was left in the field. He was the only one of the big guns that didn't roll over the hill, but he got a couple of crucial shots off before the battle really started over here, and it was just so well played. I'm sure he did a crazy amount of damage, easily over 1,500, maybe even 2,000.
All that remains are the T1s, and they will attempt to initiate a cap, but as we know, 2 tanks cannot cap as fast as 5 tanks, and MOPP4 will win this base race. It is inevitable. Certainly since they're sending a couple of heavies back to just make doubly sure. Is this necessary, Randall, or should I just park them all in the cap?
No, it's definitely necessary. You don't want to risk something crazy happening, like one of your guys deciding that he's going to go AFK, hit R 3 times, and drive off the cap. I'm not speaking from experience at all.
Did you really do that, Randall?
I didn't do that, but someone did, who shall not be named. Well, your team, sometimes just stupid stuff happens, but it's better to be safe every time. I mean, there's no reason not to.
MOPP4 caps it out and hands Nerve their first battle defeat of the season.
And in really cool fashion as well, Ben. That has to be added.
Yeah, who would have predicted that it would be not MOPP4 to take the fight to Nerve, to initiate the aggression? I think it really all comes down to their ability to pick up that first T69, as you were talking about, Kev. And right away, we're going to take a look at the tanks, and we are going to see MOPP4 rolling with T69s, 1390s, and a single WZ32. Very similar loadout on the Nerve side, 2 T69s, and instead of that WZ132, they've brought 3 AMX 1390s. So you got a little bit more autoloader, a little bit less, I guess, bulk. Is that how you would describe it?
I'd say consistent fire. The WZ132 brings consistent fire, and yeah, you've got. That's the real only difference. You brought a consistent fire tank. And I'm just thinking this 1390, 3 of them with 2 T69s, is going to be the go-to strat for Nerve. We saw it on Proc, so I'm just writing that one down as Nerve's open field lineup. If we don't see that, they're trying something different.
When you notice these kinds of patterns, what do you say to people that say, how would you counter this?
How would you counter? I feel like maybe trying to bring... I'm going to give this a minute. You guys give me a second with this, and I'm going to think about how to counter Nerve's strat, because Nerve's being very flexible, so trying to counter isn't as easy as picking the right tank.
What we can also speak to is the movement we've seen on the map thus far. We've got 2 squads, apparently, for Team Nerve, who are controlling 2 different sections of the eastern part of the map, and vice versa. MOPP4 also dividing their team up into pairs, and controlling 2 different portions of that western side of the map. The T69s basically covering the forward movement of those 1390s from MOPP4.
I really like that Psycho Killer and Lechero are literally rolling together on every single map in pretty much any given circumstance. I guess after a certain time that really builds up the connection you have with your battle buddy, doesn't it, Randall? That you just know where to look with each other. On certain moments you don't even have to call things anymore, because you just know that he's going to go there and you're going to do this.
Oh, exactly. Ideally with some, there have been people that I've played with before, and you just know what they're going to do. And eventually, especially on teams like this, you get to the point where you don't have to make a call. I don't think a field commander or the leader of these teams, should have to make the little tiny calls. There should be things like forward, and everyone should move forward, and they should move forward to the right rock, to the right bush, to the right hill. And they just stop there knowing that what you mean is you want them to move forward, you want them to move forward safely. I've been on teams before where you say forward, they just drive forward. They literally drive directly forward.
And then, of course, you play with Whiskey Dot and you don't even have to speak.
Oh, not even. Dude, the two of us scouting, you should, it's been majestic in the past. we've
more majestic than Lord Commander's beautiful hair.
More majestic than even that. And that's hard.
See a lot of movement on both sides of the map now, actually. We can see MOPP4 getting quite close to that flag already from Nerve. There is a remaining T1, I believe. That's one of the...
Yeah, that's a T1 back at base.
Yep.
He might actually, Lord Carter or Lieutenant Carter, I should say, might actually be able to scout. At least one thing. He's going to scout the conflict in the 1390.
Getting seen. So now all of a sudden, Nerve is aware that MOPP4 is out on the map in some capacity. They could make a move forward, but they are still taking their time, not overreacting to a single spot.
Clicking a lot on the minimap, but there's nothing in the period.
Well, here we go. Jen Scott, Marsh, Explosive Brutality are all moving forward, along with Lechero and Psycho Killa, along with Independent, are going to join them too.
The
so
entire
this is
team.
Almost the entire team. One tank.
Wow. This is a 6-tank push towards the cap. They're not jumping on the flag yet, though. They want to get position before submission. As long as they can cover the defensive return of MOPP4, they know that they can secure the cap.
Exactly. So well said. And we see this, these 1390s are getting prepped. Their guns are all pointed in different directions. They are prepared for any tank from any approach. Marsh has got the middle road covered. Jen Scott has the west. Oh, shots incoming because I believe someone is spotted.
Yep, Stagnate has managed to spot a couple of the Nerve players, but unfortunately for MOPP4, only minimal damage being dealt. Lechero did take a shot, but is...
He'll be all right.
Yeah,
he'll be fine.
Again, just kind of scratching the paint.
MOPP4
really not making any big moves here as Nerve continues to posture in position. There's that capture being initiated.
Much stronger position right here. This is very similar to the position that teams will take when they spawn in the south to defend their base. And so what's going to happen is Nerve is going to say, well, I guess we'll take this strong position. Come and get us.
Yep. Stagnate going to be the real playmaker here. He does have eyes on the T1 that's sitting on the flag. So Stagnate is the guy that's going to be able to say, hey, I see him. You're going to have to shoot him.
Everyone's coming in right now, and Captain No Pants is spotted. Planet Mega is spotted as well. He's taking the first shots, but he's dodging them so far.
Yeah, Marsh missing once. His second shot does hit the money. He's going to back out of that bush because he knows that he has been seeded. Explosive Brutality in a good position to supplement Marsh's fire. And, of course, those T-69 battle buddies controlling that ridge line along the H line will make it very, very difficult for MOPP4 to return home. That said, Cap's been stopped, man.
Independent was in a very strange spot on Cap. He was actually closest to where his enemies would be positioned. Oh, wow. Actually, no. That's Stagnate in the back of the cap. Why didn't anybody notice this before?
We were just talking about it. Stagnate had eyes on Indy the whole time, and he was able to shut it down. So great T1 play out of Stagnate.
And he's still safe now as well, and he's still giving away those positions.
Lieutenant Carter is going to use him as cover. Oh, Stagnate goes down. Now Lieutenant Carter then switches probably to the other side, I'd assume, here, of his dead Indy. Oh,
Chuck Monster is coming really close, and Planet Mega as well.
Yeah, so all of a sudden, Nerve has lost a little bit of this strong position. They're having to fall back. The cap has been stopped, and there is a single tank advantage to MOPP4, but it's only a tier 1. Check Monster also with very few hit points. It's going to be hard for him to really brawl here.
Yeah, there's a good HP advantage for Nerve. They might be able to push the issue with it.
And now all teams T1s are down. It's just going to come down to a straight fight. I don't think these teams want to split their forces. If we see any cap out of MOPP4, if they send a tank back to cap, that will be Nerve's cue to push. And if Nerve begins capping, I mean, MOPP4 is just going to be forced to push.
Yep. Nerve still with a reasonably strong position on that southern half of the map. They can sit on cap if they want to, but cap is so exposed. It will be a couple of those 1390s falling back. And once again, it's the 1390 and the T-69, excuse me, reinitiating the flag capture. That's going to force movement out of MOPP4. Now, critically, those two guys on the flag don't have the same line of shot as these guys that are holding this ridge line.
Marsh is in the front of things. He's going to be able to spot Buckrocker immediately once more, and C69 also going to see Plated Mega right in front of him. He could actually potentially unleash some shots, and that's exactly what he does. Conflict as well, swinging in from the left side. Here comes everything right now for MOPP4.
MOPP4's got 20 seconds to respond. Oh, no, a big reset as somebody takes a shot.
They left. He left, I think. I think one of the
they're not
guys-
willing to give up the... so by being out of the fight, they lose his firepower. So I feel that Nerve makes the intelligent decision of consolidating their firepower. Letro is still hull down behind those dead T1s.
Oh, I think they're going to try to engage in Check Monster and Conflict.
Here comes the charge.
Oh,
Nerve.
this is 4v3. This is a huge advantage for Nerve. What great movement out of this team as they will flank and dissect the forces of MOPP4. This is not even fair. Conflict is trying to hold the line, but he is completely outgunned. MOPP4 reinforcements streaming in, but a day late, a dollar short is not going to matter. MOPP4 in a world of trouble. 3 tier 8s alive against 5. Now, a couple of these autoloaders are probably clipping right now, but not all of them as more MOPP4 tankers continue to bite the dust. Cap has been abandoned, but we don't need the cap right now, says Nerve. All we have to do is finish this fight.
I love that as well. As soon as they had a massive tank advantage, it's all right. Instead of fighting this 4 against 3, let's just bring out 5 against 3 once more. You don't need to cap, just help us out. Clear up Captain No Pants, clear up Barkrocker, and with that secure the victory in this match as well.
Boom.
Which means that Nerve is going to start off the WGLNA 4-0. That's
And
really impressive.
all but guaranteeing their trip to Vegas. The last man goes down. Nerve takes it 3-1.
They played that out so well.
That was
really
just...
well done.
That was just perfect play, man. Perfect play out of Nerve. We're going to head into a short break. When we get back, we'll talk more about it. Guys, don't go anywhere. The WGL North America will return after this.
Are you ready? Welcome to the Wargaming.net League North America World of Tanks. Oh my God! It is time for North America to answer the call of esports. This could be it. 5 seconds left to go. I think we got it at the last second. An amazing play. This is just a taste of what's to come. He's trying to turn it around. Big shots going down all over the place. Oh my shot.